Good morning, everybody. Hope you all are doing well today. I just want to first and foremost introduce myself as well as the course for this upcoming semester and also talk a little bit about the syllabi, expectations, and some things that you need to be doing right from the get-go for this first week. So first and foremost, good morning. My name is Dr. Stephen Daniel. This is my second year at Appalachian State University. This is also my second time teaching media planning, which basically will consist of talking a lot about the when and where we place advertisements. So this is going to be a different kind of communication course as well as a different kind of advertising course in that we're going to be approaching advertising not from the creative spectrum, but a little bit more from the business spectrum. In addition to that, what we'll be looking into is, again, different types of media vehicles that we place advertisements in. So whether it be television, radio, newspaper, internet advertising, what are called POP ads or point of purchase, bus or outdoor ads in general, there is a large contingency of different areas that we could look at when it comes to how we look at advertising and where we place advertisements. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. So we'll also be taking a look at how we approach new media, which will include advertising on social media, advertising in terms of search engine optimization, amongst many, many others. Product placement as well. We're going to be talking a lot about that. Now, this class, again, this is media planning, so come 3640, I think that's what it is. I'm going to run by the syllabi. I'm not going to stay too long on it, only because, you can read, and that shouldn't be a big deal in this case. But make sure that you're reading the syllabi. If you have any questions, please let me know. First and foremost, I have office numbers or office hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 4 p.m. or by appointment. So if you'd like to stop by, that'd be fine. I know a lot of you are maybe in West Jefferson or Lenoir or Hickory or somewhere on the western part of North Carolina, but aren't necessarily in Boone. That's fine. I am pretty good about answering my emails for the most part. So if you have a question, please feel free to email me. I wouldn't recommend calling, only just because I don't answer it that often, but I do answer my emails pretty frequently. And I usually have about a 12-hour turnaround at most. It's usually under 6. And sometimes I just so happen to be on my computer that I can answer any questions right then and there. However, that's not always the case, and especially if you email me past 11 o'clock at night. I'd even go so far as to say if you email me after 10 o'clock at night, just be prepared that I'm probably not going to answer you till the morning. But other than that, I'm usually pretty responsive. I usually respond right then and there. So my email is on your syllabi as well. It's Daniel, Daniel. There's no S in my last name. So Deniel ES at appstate.edu. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you're going to try to email me, salutations are always nice. While I do prefer Dr. Daniel, I don't mind it if you call me by my first name, Emery or Stephen or whatever. But again, that's kind of up to you. It's usually if it's nothing derogatory, I'll probably answer to it. So the course description, and again, in this case, is learning about different media, mass media, audience considerations, and so forth. And so one of our first assignments is actually going to reflect that. And I'm going to talk about that here towards the end of this particular video. And this is going to be a real helpful class, I think, anyway. And I think it's helped a lot of people over the course of the last few times that I've taught this, mainly because it's very hands-on. It's a course that you will most likely use if you're going into an interdisciplinary field. If you are going into something like media planning, it's going to help to know how to utilize these different mediums. What are some of the terms that go along with it? They're very important, and it's where a lot of jobs in advertising are right now. In fact, I've taught this class or a variation of this class for almost 40 years now, and I've had about 5 or 6 students get really good jobs at great advertising firms. A bunch of them were doing freelance work, helping local clients out in terms of getting their progress done in terms of social media presence and so forth, and how to measure that, et cetera, et cetera. So again, you'll see this in the course description and the course objectives. One of the biggest areas that I want to cover is your textbooks, as this is going to be a very important consideration for this class. And so I've got 2. One that you will need to buy. I know App State used the rental system, but this is one of the best books in terms of utilizing terms and formulas together. I will go ahead and tell you it's not necessarily the most grammatically correct book, as it will have some typos in it. It's also a hair bit outdated, but it's actually a really good book in terms of the online feature, and this is why we keep using it. So anytime that you talk to a media planning professor, chances are they're going to use this book right here. So this is Martin and Cood's Media Flight Plan. So essentially what this is going to be is, this is a book that will take you over things like, what is an impression? What is a gross rating point? What is reach? What are impressions? And with that, we take this information and we're able to plug it in and be able to create a comprehensive media plan, which is the goal for the end point of this class. You will create a media plan for either a local or national client you will choose. But the Media Flight Plan is one of the best tools to be able to do this. And again, it is about $60. So when it comes to the standards on textbook, that's not terrible. If you don't have the money for that, please let me know early so we can try to work through that. Again, you will not, well, I will say this, you will not need it up until, let's see, week 5. So that's September 17th through 21st. So you've got about a month to make sure you get your hands on this. So again, save your money for this particular book. And again, let me know if you don't have that kind of money to allocate towards this kind of textbook beforehand. And again, I will be glad to help out where I can. You will need to get it to go. Do not rent this book. It has a code on it. I'm not going to show you because I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. It has a code on there, and you cannot share it. You cannot, again, use it twice per year. It's only valid for that semester. So again, be very careful about not renting this book, but buy it. Now, there is a function within the bookstore. So if you go on App State's bookstore, you can purchase it through there. So if you don't want to go all the way to Boone to get it, I would recommend contacting them and getting that book. Again, you've got 5 weeks to get this book. So again, please buy it. Do not rent it. I'm going to stress this constantly to make sure that this sinks in, because I always have somebody that ends up renting it for like $30, and they'll regret it. Also, I really wouldn't recommend buying it on Amazon. And the reason I say that is because I have had students in the past that have come to me and said, Dr. Daniel, I purchased this book on Amazon and the code didn't work. So again, it is imperative that you not only purchase it, but very strongly recommended that you do it through the bookstore here at ASU. And again, you can email it to them, and they will ship it to you. So you don't actually have to go to Boone to get it. The other one is The New Rules of Marketing and PR by David Meerman Scott. Now, this is a little bit different. I approach this class somewhat different than my peers in that I want you to think about how to use funds correctly as well as efficiently. And that's one thing we're going to talk about starting on week 5 is, budget allocations. How much are you spending on an advertisement versus who all's going to see it. And one thing I'll mention, just kind of as a brief anecdote to kind of give you the feel for this class, it used to be within advertising that the Super Bowl was like the holy grail of advertising. People would put up mortgages on their house to put an advertisement on the Super Bowl, and their business would go up for the longest time. Well, the case of the matter is now we're dealing with a lot of niche markets that it's almost more beneficial to actually promote to a smaller segmented audience, and you'll spend less money and you'll have people who are actively engaged to actually purchase your product. And so we'll get more into that. But the reason I'm putting this book in is it's going to take a little bit of a connection because it doesn't seem like it's going to fit right away. But the reason I'm doing it is because this will put you in a place where you can sit there and say, how can I spend money creatively? How can I get the biggest bang for my buck when it comes to placement of advertisement versus who's going to see it? So you can always have the best advertisement in the world, and this is another important thing for this class. A great creative campaign, beautiful copy, imagery is fantastic, there's a good tagline and so forth. If nobody sees it, it's nothing. And so this is something that David Marion Scott will actually mention is you are what you publish. And that is something that's very important throughout the course of this particular class. Okay, so a couple things that are going to be in terms of what we're going to be doing in this class. First, I will be giving exams for this particular class. There will be 2 of them. They are open book, so that's the good news, even though I don't know how I would enforce it otherwise. But they are open books, so please feel free to use them. And but they will be on a timer. What I'll probably end up doing, and this is what I did last year, is I'll give you about 3 or 4 days as a window to use, and you can take it at any point in time, just as long as you take it before the end day. So to usually open up like on a Wednesday and close on a Friday. So that is something that you will need to take into consideration. Those aren't going to be until much later, but that is a major thing to be looking into. There's going to be a lot of assignments, particularly from Media Flight Plan, and this will consist of assignments that will essentially have you looking into the back section. I'll get this real quick. There are exercises in the back. I just realized I filled out all my exercises, so nope. Okay. They'll have exercises in the back, kind of like word problems. So if you really read the corner, you can get a head start on one of them. You won't need the online code at first either. So if push comes to shove on week 5, if you absolutely cannot get this book by week 5, we can still accommodate a little bit. But I think it's around week 8, week 7 or week 8 that you will need to get this book, because that's when you'll use the actual flight plan software. And that's where it gets really good, is when you actually get to use that. And you can start using it now. In fact, there's a Fiat example, and I think it's exercise, let me look, just in case you want to get a head start on it. Exercise 4. So it's going to look like this, and you can actually go on and start tinkering with the website as much as you want. So it's free reign for this semester, so please take use of it as you go along. The final exam that we'll be working on is developing an integrated media plan for a local or national client. You will get to choose who that is. You'll just need to tell me what you have in mind, and you can do that as early as today. I've got a due date on the syllabi when I want it. Let's see, and I think it's, let's look at this. I think I've got it here as week 6 is when I want you to propose your project. So this will be something we'll look into for the semester. I like local clients personally, just because it gives you a little bit more experience to talk with the client than a national one, but I'm not going to force you one way or the other to do one campaign or another. So I'm not going to make a big fuss about that. So, but you got to let me know what it is. I will approve it, and then we'll move from there. So again, it's looking at a local or national client, with some exceptions. I don't want any like adult bookstores or anything like that. Keep it, PG-13. That's something I'm not wanting to work on right here, because if your assignment is really good, I usually like to use student work as examples, and like I said, I don't want to use that particular example to show future classes of what to do in this case. And this will be due on December 5th, 2018, which is the last day of class. And towards the end of the semester, you'll probably take a look and notice that the last week, so week 15, is just going to be based on you finishing your project and then submitting it, whenever that may be. So I'll probably open it up pretty early in this case. There will also be engagement. I'm going to have some participation points. I think it is 10%. 10% is attendance and participation. You don't have to watch these videos if you don't want to. I encourage you to, just because this is where the media flight plan answers are going to be. I'm probably going to reiterate any kind of information on these videos about homework and so forth. You do not necessarily have to watch them again, although I try to encourage you to do so. But I will be posting up forums, and that will be your attendance. And usually what will end up happening is I'll probably post something around 5 over the course of the semester, and it'll count like 2 points apiece or something. So I may even post 6 during the course of the semester, and then just have you, I'll take the best 5 that you get out of that. So deadlines, you can read about deadlines, participation, academic integrity. I've also got things with students with disabilities, religious observances. I don't have anything for athletic procedures, but I will say if you do have a notable disability or you are an athlete, please provide paperwork for me as soon as possible so that I can help you out. So if you need like extra time for a test, or you're not going to be around at a certain point, like I said, I really would like your schedule or some form, official form, to let me know what's going on. So please do that ahead of time. And this is a general rule as we're going along in this class, is let me know things. If, God forbid, something happens within your family, if you get sick, please let me know ahead of time, and I will be much more willing to accommodate versus if you don't tell me anything and, we're just going to, I'm not going to know anything up until you're in a bad place at that point academically. So, but let me know ahead of time, please. The other thing I will mention, and this is your first assignment, is, and I'll talk more about this on the day of, August 24th is the last day I will want you to get started on your media consumption log assignment. It is already up on As You Learn. The template's pretty simple to follow by, but it's basically, and again, I'll go over this in more detail, it is basically, what is your media consumption? So whether this be television, whether it be reading books, whether it be watching Netflix, whether it be spending time on your phone, anything, radio in the car, that kind of thing. I want you, now don't write these, don't record them in the car, but again, just try to keep track. This is kind of how Nielsen does a lot of their ratings in terms of user input ratings. However, this is something that I will want you to do by September 4th. So that will be the following Monday on week 3. So you need to record it for a week. Stay on top of it, as this is your first assignment, and it's kind of a doozy in this case. But it will talk a little bit about recording data in this case. So I'll actually record the data that you send me, and I'll put that on. I won't put your personal data on what you watched and so forth. I'll just basically say how many minutes watched of certain certain types of media vehicles in this case. So again, this is going to be all part of it. I will mention that you will also be reading pages 1 through 34 for week 1 for David Meerman Scott. I will post a forum post sometime this week. I'm not going to tell you when, but sometime this week I will have a forum post ready to go. So be on the lookout for that. The good news is, and I tried to accommodate for this particular book right here, for David Meerman Scott, it's actually available on As You Learn. I copied every single page so that you don't have to purchase that one. So I felt kind of bad that I'm making you purchase Media Flight Plan, but I will not make you purchase this one if you want to use that. Now, I will mention it is copied, so some of you don't like reading on the computer. I know that, as many people have told me in the past. So if you want to buy it, I think it's like $20. It's not that expensive. But at the same time, this is an option in kind of my way to say, sorry about that, please. I'm giving you one book that's $60 that you have to purchase, but the other one you can read for free in this particular case. So we'll be reading that, and then I will want you to participate on this. Again, it's going to feel like a little bit of a stretch at first, but as you keep reading, you'll start to notice a little bit of the impact of new media and what it means to do that and to utilize those steps. So there will be some tentative stuff, as well as I will be out of town for a couple weeks in late October and early November. I will either use a previous recording or I will just record on site. I don't care. But it may delay a little bit of my email response times during that particular week. So all this is going to be a little bit more clear in due time. This is a course that's really unlike any other in the App State curriculum for communication. However, it is extremely important. And again, this will be something that I will want you to really stay on top of. And feel free to ask me any questions, because this is probably something you're not used to, and that's okay. The last thing I will mention is one more thing that is a forum post is about you. I have an As You Learn forum right now online. So 2 of you have already filled it out. Thank you, by the way. And it's just basically an about you, some questions that I'm curious about within this particular class. I've also got an about me if you are ever curious about who your professor is in this case. Okay, no, I've changed my mind. I have one more thing. There are 2 different formats in terms of how I record these videos. One is a picture of yours truly, just talking the entire time. That's going to be a lot through David Meerman Scott. When I get into Media Flight Plan, I'm going to be showing you a lot of tips and tricks within Excel. So Excel is a bit of a specialty of mine, and I like to show people how to do shortcuts in Excel, how to write formulas in Excel to make this process a lot easier. So again, just trying to help you in this case in terms of getting this set up. So again, this will be more of a screenshot. I'm recording on Photo Booth right now, but the other one will only feature my voice, and we'll talk about some of the assignments. So anyway, that is it for today. If you have any questions about the course, about me, about the structure, about text, about any services that you need in terms of special needs in this kind of thing, just let me know. And again, I am more than happy to accommodate in any way that I can. So I hope you all have a wonderful Monday. Enjoy your weather. It's kind of cloudy over here now, but enjoy your weather, enjoy your day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. All right, thanks. Bye.